Hey, good afternoon, Waycross family. I hope everybody's doing well. This is your second city update for the month of September. Um, Bottom line up front, we're going to be a little bit short on this one. We got a competing event, so this will probably just won't be as long as it typically would be. We're going to have a hard start time of 12:40. But if you have some questions, if the questions start coming, we'll be still monitoring the comments. We'll make sure we come back and answer those questions, and then hopefully that works for everybody. So today I only have like three subjects today that I'm gonna talk about, and then we'll try to answer some questions if we have any, and then gonna take off for that other event. Now the other event I will talk about, I think we already have a post on it today. It's at 1 o'clock from 1 to 3. Actually, on Auditorium, it's got the various subjects. We'll be talking about dependency, I think. So it's a great conversation. I won't talk about it too much here, um, but it is a community problem that needs a community solution. So I encourage you, if you can. I'm not sure if it's going to be live stream. Please watch it. If not, if you can stop by, please stop by. And again, it'll probably turn or morph into a whole bunch of different ideas, just about how do people get to that point in their lives and what we can do better as a society and a community to help them, and who are those key stakeholders to do all that. So just want to touch on that real fast. But hey, let me jump on my city update, and then we'll kind of go from there. So again, we always start with safety. Um, Still having a lot of speeding in the city, around the city. I'm not sure we'll be able to mitigate that like I would like to. But I just ask everybody, just, again, please slow down. The new parks, some of them open up this week, and some open up next week or next month. And it's going to be a lot more children out there. We're going to keep those splash pads open a little bit longer than we typically would, just to get some use out of them this summer. This year. But again, just slow down. And I know I'm beating a dead horse of that. Um, but life is too precious to be, hit because you're 5 minutes late from somewhere. And with that, we're asking everybody again to go ahead and start just being familiar with the alternate routes to get around once construction starts on the overpasses. Go ahead and see how long it takes you. And once you do the alternate route, I would probably then add, at least 15 more minutes, maybe 20 more minutes, just because the amount of traffic is going to be added next year when everybody starts using those routes. But go ahead and familiarize yourself with those routes, because you need to probably figure out which one best works for you. And we're going to post those routes again. I think we'll probably post them just once a week, just to over communicate and make sure we touch everybody. So probably look at posting them on pick a day every Wednesday. We'll post it every Wednesday, just so everybody's kind of tracking which way to go when that construction starts. Um, Also in safety, and I'm not trying to um, insult anyone, but with those new parks, I've been noticing a lot of small children being left unattended. Babies, we got to be careful with that, y'all. We don't have a society like that anymore, where you can leave a 1 year old without a parent. So I just ask, especially at the park, walking to the stores, if we can have at least a adult child with those young children, because we are starting to see them run across the street, and that goes back to the safety thing, and we just need some help with that. So if it doesn't apply to you, don't worry about it. But we just seeing a lot of uptake of small kids without adult children or parents in areas they probably shouldn't be in. So again, just ask for help with that. So my next step is going to be information, and I just want to touch on this briefly. Um, of course, we know that for the most part, everybody has their tribal, the page they refer to. When I say information, I'm talking about the city's information that we put out. That you go to. Everybody watches certain news channel, news media. We all have a favorite football team, all those things of that nature. But if you want the most updated, correct information, I'm going to strongly encourage you to come to our page, especially if it's city business. Our Facebook page is probably going to be the most active because we post there every day. But then our web page is going to have the most information on it. That's where the bulk of our information is. If you're seeking for any to get answers to anything that you might have questions about. So also on Facebook, each of our departments has a page too. So if your question might be specific to the fire department, you can go on that fire department's Facebook page, and they monitor their page as well. and they will answer your questions. You can inbox them or just make a post. But I say this only because we're in a world and environment now where there's so much misinformation, and that misinformation can be really critical in certain situations, which I touch on my last point. But again, if you really want to seek some answers, use our social media platforms as well as our webpage. But more than that, I just ask you to come to the meetings. Talk to the commissioners. You can talk to me. You can call our phones. All our cell phones are posted. You can call the office. You can use the app. But there are many ways to, talk to the city to get the most relevant information, and to be honest, the most correct information. We do have some uninformed and I say undereducated. I mean, not educated in the application of city duties citizens that post a lot of stuff. And a lot of times it's come from a space where they just simply don't know the subject they're speaking on. Not saying they can't have an opinion about the subject, but what I am saying is to understand the application of the subject. So and my goal as a city manager, is charged by the commissioner and the mayor, is to make sure we put out the most accurate information out there to our citizens in the city of Waycross. So again, this is not a back and forth thing or anything like that. I just want everybody to have the right information, which kind of brings us to my next point. And this is I'm gonna do a separate post on that probably today or tomorrow, but I've been thinking about it for weeks now. And as many of you know, this time last year, on this Thursday, on this almost exact same day, we was getting notifications from the weather news media that we had some storms forming in both the Gulf of Mexico, and then outside of the Caribbean islands. It was two storms, tropical storms at the time, formulated, and the weather models had them going, a certain route. I think one was going to go up pretty much the east side of Florida and then kind of back out to the ocean, and the one that was going up from the Gulf was supposed to kind of die down because it's supposed to meet I think it said a hot weather front, and it's supposed to kind of put down to a low tropical storm, and it's supposed to die out once it touched land. But as we know now, that did not happen. That storm that was supposed to be in the Gulf of Mexico, it got stronger and stronger. It touched ground and it came on land, and it became one of the, to date, one of the worst ever storms for the city of Waycross, and horrific for a lot of cities and states. So I'm going to say some dates real fast just to kind of further that point, because I really want everybody to take this message to heart, because hopefully you've been watching all our preps, our video preps as far as storm prep. We've been putting out information on, some changes we're making as far as city operation doing storm prep. But if not, I ask you today, you do not want to be unprepared. But let me put some dates to you real fast so you can kind of better understand what I'm trying to say. So on the 22nd of September, that's when the storm first started. Both those storms started forming out in the ocean. And then on the 24th, well, they weren't storms yet, but they were tropical depressions, that they call it. And then on the 24th of September, they became storms. On the 25th of September, they became hurricanes. On the 26th of September, they touched land. And by the end of the night on the 26th of September, early morning on the 27th of September, we caught the tail end here in Waycross. And if you know about storms, the tail end, or what they call the dirty side of the storm, depending how it's moving, it's the most destructive and fastest part of the storm, which is what we caught. So, and if you look at those dates are eerily similar to right now. So, like I say, myself and the staff, we've been trying our best to brainstorm this and put out information for everybody to get prepared. But I would be lying if I did not say I'm not worried, because I'm still worried right now. We have two storms again that's forming those same locations, and just thinking back last year, nobody really was really concerned about what they would become. And I'm not trying to talk this into fruition. I just don't want to set up a situation where we just ignore the possibility. So a few things I want to make sure everybody's kind of understanding. Hopefully, and I'm praying that you've been following our post in these conversations. I know the county's done some, the emergency management office has done some. The state of Georgia has done some. Hopefully, you've been following all those communications, and that goes back to my point of I know we got our own echo chambers, and if you're watching just one source of media, sometimes you can get lost. Definitely when they downplay the hurricane, like some of those stations did last year. So if you don't trust the city's information, again, please reach out and you can check on the emergency management website or Facebook page. Jacksonville News, they cover a lot of our news as far as storms here for the city of West Cross. We don't have a news channel to put information out on. So I want to thank Jacksonville for always making sure they highlight, any potential bad weather that might, hit here in Waycross. Make sure you look at that. If you don't watch Jacksonville News, and look at the national weather, channels and medias, or sites or apps. It is so important to start really paying attention to these things, these outlets, so you're not unprepared in case of the worst. So, for us as a city, as a reminder, our distribution points or locations are going to change. Last year, we operated solely from City Hall. This year, it will be from the fire departments, and each fire department location is pretty much in a district. Now, two districts share the same fire department. I think I put the maps out already. We'll repost that for those who did not see it the first time. But those will be the location where we give out water, we give out tarps. There'll be a location for charging stations if you want to charge your phones or your medical related devices. But again, it can't be everybody. We're asking that you go to your specific districts for those types of services. Also, speaking on that, City Hall will be open during that time frame, but we're going to be more open for like some charging for medical devices, cell phones, and just an area to recoup if you lose power in your home. But again, City Hall is only so big. Also, the auditorium will be another location we'll have, as we did the last 2 years, for those individuals that lose power or need further assistance in that area. So the auditorium will be open. Some things I'm hoping everybody can kind of make note of as well. I'm asking that you use the app for all your non-emergency calls or situations. It's critically important that 911, that line is free as possible for anybody who really needs 911 services. And I don't want to go too far into that because I know everybody's going to see that differently from their viewpoint. But if you have a non-emergency, I can list them here, but I know it's going to be different from person to person. But we really need that 911 line to open up for our emergencies. Like life or death emergencies. One thing we had last year, too many folks called to just share information. When I say this, I'm not trying to be confrontational or anything like that, but we're out in the storm from the day before and throughout the day collecting information. We don't really need citizens to call in stuff. We want you to remain in your homes and be safe. That's what we're asking you to do to help us help you. We'll need you out there checking trees, checking power lines, and calling in. You're really slowing down the effort of the emergency services as far as public works, the fire department, and our police department. So I got it. You mean well, but if you can, just stay in your homes and be safe, and then let the professionals try to, kind of figure out and work our way through the process of the storm coming in, during the storm, and the storm getting out. And on that note, as far as 911, our ambulance services are going to be very limited too during those storms. And I know a lot of times people was calling and complaining that they needed an ambulance and it took, 2 or 3 hours. Sometimes ambulance didn't come. Again, we don't have so many trucks. I think I know we have a truck per fire station, and then we have, I think, 2 more additional trucks in the county. But again, looking back to last year, some of those drivers were unable to get to work because they were stormed in. So I make that point because I don't want people to be too negative on them, because they were trying when they got to the office. I mean, some people walk to those fire stations to get into those ambulances to get out there for the public. So, but we got to be very mindful. Like, again, if it's a non-emergency, use the app or use our cell phone. But I need that 911 line open so the emergencies can be properly addressed in the amount of time they need to be addressed. So that's really it on storm prep. I'm just hoping that I think we're all hoping that nothing happens this year. And nothing happens this year, and I'm just talking up here, but uh, this might be our new normal. So just please, again, prepare as best you can. I know everybody's finances are not the same, but hopefully we started talking about this about 6 months ago. We're encouraging citizens to go ahead and buy those extra extra bottles of water, canned foods and stuff like that. If you could afford a generator, get a generator. If not, get batteries, small charging devices, extra gas, all those things. Hopefully you had a chance to. If you're not, then you can still reach out to us, and we'll see what we can do. But our supplies are limited at this time, and again, we just want everybody to be safe. One more point on storm activities. Last year, we had a lot of trees down, and I understand now, looking back, people were trying to get to the grocery stores, and because we had not prepared, and we were trying to get out there and take get stuff for our families, and unfortunately, some people were seriously injured, and we had some loss of life. So there's going to be some safety precautions in place, especially if our lights are not working. And I really need everybody to, if you don't have to be out, don't come out. Unless you have to get something of an emergency situation, please just stay home. That probably was our second biggest problem during those first 48 hours after the storm. We had too many people out just doing whatever and not understanding that was slowing down the recovery phase of the city. So like I say, right now it would not be a bad idea to go out and get some a few extra good from the storefronts, because we never know. Again, in kind of finalizing this, if you haven't already, go look at the national news media weather. Go look at Jacksonville. You can check our own management here, and just make sure you're abreast of what's going on, because this same time last year, I think we all was thinking what would eventually happen could never happen, and it did. So I still got one question here. Let me just read it real fast. And okay. So Ms. Morgan, again, so and those who can see the comment that I'm responding to, if you look at the comment, I just asked again because it is hard for us as a city to with the children, because it's children everywhere, and I see it every day. And I can't put stop signs everywhere. I can't have police everywhere. We need some help with the parents. I had to say that out loud. We have a lot of little kids just running in the street, and sometimes you can't see them when they run from behind a car until it's too late. And I don't know. I mean, we have our parks, we have our playgrounds. I don't know what to do. I mean, the commission has charged me on that many times, and we do studies. We can't just put stop signs everywhere. We do studies because a lot of times it's not necessarily the speed; it's the visibility, especially when people park or places they shouldn't park. And you heard me talk about this many times before. That is a community problem that needs a community solution. So we all have to take ownership of that and make sure our children are safe. Especially I can't understand why we have 1, 2-year-olds running around the 10. It's just baffling. And again, I'm not trying to be argumentative or anything with anybody, but the city, some things we just can't manage. So I understand the frustration of everybody involved with this. I truly do. But it's got to start home at first. We gotta start monitoring these kids so they're not out here just ramping run down in the street. I know suggestions were made. We currently right now, when I say identified parks outside our big parks, we have 13 parks in the city of Waycross, and that's more than parks in a city 4 times the size of us. So we have locations. We have multiple areas for them to play. But it just can't be in the street. So I need help with that. Let me rest this comment here. Okay, it's a question about vacant lots, and I've talked about this a few times before, and this goes back to mine. I know this is probably the first time catching my update. Again, I would encourage everybody to go on our YouTube page and look at all our discussions on our bladed properties and vacant lots. Again, this is not a problem or issue specific to Waycross. This is everywhere, and there's so much we can do with vacant lots. Again, we don't have the staff to cut every vacant lot here in the city of Waycross. It's not possible for our current workload. I'm trying to work through the land bank and the tax commission office to look at other ways to mitigate these properties, but it's going to take some time. These properties have been left vacant for many years, and it's going to take some time to mitigate it. I mean, that's all I really can say. But we are trying. But I would ask that you first just look at what we've done so far, what we're trying to do. And if you got some answers or solutions, then come see me. I saw it come the other day about I couldn't be reached, but again, our phones are on our cell phones on our websites. We posted them plenty of times before. We have a working app for you that we respond to every day. I respond to any message I get in my professional page inbox or email, as well as my staff. But more than that, if you come to the meetings, that'll go a whole lot better, because then we can be face to face and really talk about the issues that need to be discussed. So. All right. And again, I can't stay on too long today. We have another event that I'm going to be speaking at. So just to recap again, just safety. Like I said, we all got to be concerned about safety. It's not really, I think it's unrealistic to think that, the city can solve safety by itself, especially when we're not driving all the cars. So again, I just ask everybody to please slow down. Back to the comment about the children. We got to watch out for our kids until we figure this out, especially in the neighborhoods. I can't see why you should be speeding through neighborhoods when you got stop signs there. So please, let's all just practice, better awareness. Let's just slow down. Let's watch out for each other, because these we are kids as well. And just leave on time if you got to be somewhere. Again, we're asking that once the construction happens on the overpasses, that you start using alternate routes, which we'll start posting every Wednesday as reminders to everybody where those routes are. And then even then, I would add 20 to 30 minutes on that time frame, because we don't know how that's going to be until it actually start being utilized that way. So just plan to leave early to your jobs or your places of work. Information, like I said, again, you can do what there are many sources of information on many various topics. I'm just asking right now, if you want to get anything on the city, that you come to the source of the information. You can go on our web page, our Facebook page here, our updates. Our main source will come to the meetings to talk to your commissioners personally. You can call your commissioners. You can call the mayor. You can call myself. You can shoot emails. If you want to get on our distribution list, you can get on there. And every Friday, you get an update in your email. And of course, I mentioned the app. But we have multiple ways to get the correct information that you might be seeking as far as city services. So please utilize those services versus however else you get the information. And the last point, like I said, we do have a storm coming up. And take that back. I'm reflecting on last year's storm, hurricane. And I should have mentioned this the first time. That the time after that storm, so you might want to talk about dates: the 22nd, the 24th, the 25th, 26th, and really the 27th. But the 28th, the 29th, and the 30th, I just want to applaud the community of Waycross. That's when we started seeing our faith-based group get out and start helping citizens. We started seeing neighbor to neighbor get out, helping citizens, helping each other. All those other things we had going on, that was secondary, and we was helping out each other really over the next 2 to 3 weeks as far as recovery mode. So that was a beautiful thing to see. So, sometimes I get frustrated. I'll tell the staff, but I reflect back to then about that time and when we brought Sergeant Sanders home, to when the community really came together. And I think if we can figure out how to get into those spaces, but not in those spaces based off of some major misfortunate, we really can make Waycross thrive and grow. And I'm hoping that, I've been looking back, reflecting at some of the things I might have done or I might have said or not said, um, especially during meetings and just out and about, because I know what we can be. We've all displayed it, some of the hatred we got going on right now, I won't call it hatred. Some of the misunderstandings we have going on right now, or disagreements, I mean, they can be easily solved. But we got to talk to each other in a professional, respectful manner, and we got to figure out how to have that conversation. But I know it can be done because I know we all know in times of emergency we're gonna help each other out regardless how we feel about anything else. So um, yes, so I mentioned the last year's storm, and we are concerned right now, but potentially could happen this year. So we're asking everybody to just prepare as best you can, because it's all you can do. If you need help, please reach out. I forgot to mention back to those medical devices. If you are a citizen with a medical device, it's so important that you reach out to your provider because no one else can. I did speak to some providers. They will provide extra oxygen tanks and stuff like that, but it must be upon request of the person being serviced, nobody else. So please do that because that is so important to your safety and livelihood during storms. And with that, I'm gonna stay on here a few more minutes, but don't see a lot of questions in the comments. Uh, and again, it's going to be short, y'all. I apologize for that. Had another event coming. It's sketched right behind this. But again, if you think about something you want to speak on, I got a question about, just go in the comments and drop it there, and we will follow back up with it today or tomorrow. And I see we got some people still watching, so I'm just wondering if they're gonna ask any questions. So as always, when I kind of grade myself, we don't have any questions. I think I've covered the material, or everybody just satisfied. So, and while I'm waiting again, I know people always keep asking me what this is. You know what this is? This is that baby. It's been a year now, I think, right? It has been at least a year, and that baby wipe is still going strong up in this water. And I will say, of course, with our systems, it wouldn't last. Because once it got down to the plant, it would get deteriorated through our, uh, our streaming system. But what I am saying is, if it can stay there for a long time, if it's not mitigated. And again, I'm getting a text from one of my employees right now, so I forgot to mention this, and we're probably going to do a post on this if they haven't already. Um, Grass cut season's almost over with. What they did right around yesterday, we saw a lot of people just cutting grass and throw it back in the street. I can't say enough how dangerous that is because it goes right back into the same system. And it's the weather gets colder, then that stuff stays there a little bit longer. So again, we need your help with that. Please cut your grass, throw it back on your yard, or pick it up and properly dispose of it. All right. So hey, we didn't have any questions. 2 minutes. We had one questions, and man, if you like I said, if you want to follow up with us, just make an appointment with my office, and we'll discuss this property you're talking about as far as uh, I guess it's an abandoned property. So, and I'll talk to the team about this once I get off as well. But hey, I want everybody to have a good day. Hope this doesn't sound too negative. I just want to make sure that we're really, aware and abreast of the current weather because it's kind of, like I say, it's very similar to what it was last year. And just hoping everybody can be prepared as best they can. And again, in the unlikely event that another storm did hit, please be safe, stay in your homes, let the professionals be the professionals, and then once it's time to come out and take care of each other, then let's do that because we do that. Red Cross does that better than anybody. Let's come out and take care of each other during the recovery. And with that, I will ask everybody to have a great day. Hopefully, we got a great weekend this weekend full of sunshine and nice weather. And again, if you got any questions, comments, or concerns, you can leave them here in this comment or in our post tomorrow. And with that, I want everybody to have a great day. And I will see you at the next update. Thank you.